Hello, my name is Mahmoud. I'm a gay, vegetarian, agnostic Egyptian refugee. And this is my story. Before I say anything, I'm fully aware of the possible consequences of sharing such a story. I'm fully aware of the number of family members that would choose not to talk to me anymore after posting such a story online. But I cannot help but feel that what I want to share here is bigger than me, bigger than the sum of the consequences that were the things that might impact my personal life. Because I've witnessed such great harm done to such innocent people. And I cannot help but feel that it is my full responsibility to share the story and struck up a conversation that hopefully one day might change what's actually happening. So without any further ado, this is where I am and how I got here. First of all, I found out that I'm gay when I was around 14 years old, around the time I got sexually mature, and I just realized how much I am attracted to men and how I'm not attracted to women like my peers, and I felt extremely different, but at the same time I felt that it was super okay. Like I didn't really feel that it is something that I need to address. Felt like, well, I'm attracted to boys. That's it. You see, this starts like an amazing come out story, but it's not. I grew up in a fairly conservative family in Cairo, Egypt. If you're not familiar with Egyptian society, well, let me take you through a tour. Basically, in Egyptian society, there are so many rules that are implemented by so many different factors. Some of them are traditional, some of them are religious. In Egypt, unfortunately, a lot of the things that are considered different are either imprisoned, tortured, exiled, in some worst cases, killed. And I'm not saying that this affects just me, because this affects a whole bunch of people. This affects Islamists. I'm not talking about extremist terrorists. I'm talking about people who want to create a religious society in Egypt. This affects feminists, women and men that are fighting for women's rights and trying to combat the patriarchal society that is currently the norm in Egypt. Activists, anybody who is fighting for human rights. Unfortunately, a lot of organizations get shut down simply because they are fighting for human rights. And finally, me, gay people, LGBT people. What happens to us is atrocious. What happens to us is something that I cannot understand. And I won't understand. So please, after hearing my story, help me change it. So back to what I was saying. I was 14, I realized I'm gay. I remember the night I found out the word gay. It was a very typical night of a 14-year-old boy discovering, in a way, his sexuality. And I remember how I was Googling the typical naked boys on Google, and I stumbled upon the word gay. I mean, you probably never heard of someone who is very grateful for gay porn, but I am grateful that it exists because it taught me what I am. in a time where I had nobody like me around. I went through a lot of confusing phases. I was dealing with accepting myself whilst dating a girl, whilst my parents getting divorced, whilst facing the family facing one of its hardest financial problems. It was just too much at the time. But when I finally got through it, when I finally decided to live like who I actually am, I started meeting people like me through an application that I used to think that is extremely beautiful, which is Grindr. I'm gonna go back to why I used to think that it was beautiful. And then I realized that life for gay people is not that great, because my previous knowledge was that people don't accept it, but I mean, they can't do anything about it. Just, stay low and it's gonna be okay. But then I've realized that through this beautiful application called Grindr that I met so many amazing people through, the police creates fake accounts and tricks people into meeting them and captures them. Usually the fate of those people turns out to be a mixture of anal examinations, torture, sometimes rape, imprisonment that can reach up to 9 years. I remember the first time I found that out. It was in 2014, if I remember correctly. A group, 2 gay guys in Egypt have decided to have an unofficial wedding on a boat on the Nile. Unfortunately, they have decided to take a video which got leaked to the internet. And they got imprisoned, all of them, everybody who was in the video. Fortunately, they weren't very well connected, and only people who are actually have good connections in Egypt can somehow, best case, get out of it, worst case, lower the sentence. I remember that I watched that on the news with my grandma, my aunt, and my mom around. And I remember the words. I remember how angry my grandma got. She got so angry to the point that she kept saying that these people are ruining our society. This is what we get from being westernized. These people deserve hell. Stuff like that. My aunt supported her. Sadly, that happened about a week after I came out to my mother. She said nothing. It made me realize that maybe I'm alone in this world. Maybe even the people dearest to me are not going to help me. This is kind of part of why I'm making this video. I've read this sentence once on Instagram. I'm sorry, I'm diverting a lot from the actual story. The post said, "Queer people everywhere are responsible for queer people everywhere." I loved it. It made me feel that I'm part of this huge family that would fight for me, and that I would fight for them. I hope it's truly like that. I hope people would fight for me, and that I would fight for them. Going back to the story. In 2017, a couple of years later, there was a huge crackdown that happened after a concert of a musical band called Mashra Layla, which is a Lebanese band with the lead singer like out and gay, and he sings about men a lot in his songs. The concert took place in Cairo, and a bunch of innocent, young, very young people decided to raise the rainbow flag in solidarity to the lead singer. And 2 weeks later, almost all of them got caught. Everybody that was in a picture or a video or any of that sort was in prison. Sad thing that a lot of them were 18 years old. At that time, I was already living in Romania, and the story of how I got to Romania is a little bit complicated. And I kind of mix the story a lot now. Trying to figure out how to make it together, put it together again, because making such videos is very hard. Okay, I was in Romania at the time when I heard that story, and I remember how the media disclosed it. They were saying that homosexuals are terrorists, they're drug addicts, they're people that are ruining our society. We should abolish them. They were saying horrific things. And I remember just thinking one thing. They're just 18. How can you say that about an 18-year-old boy or a girl? I remember how I started talking about it on Facebook, and I tried to change the posts I was reading from people that I went to school with, people that I grew up with, people that I called family. I remember how sad I felt. Then I had to take all my posts down, because a friend of mine told me that the police are tracking everything, and even though I'm in Romania, that me posting such a thing might lead the police to catching my friends in Egypt. So I took everything down. I feel that I shouldn't have. I did. I was afraid for my friends, for my loved ones, for the people who are still in Egypt. Going back to what I was doing in Romania, when I finished high school in 2015, I have decided I want to improve my life. I want to live a more honest life. So what I did was that I traveled to Tunisia, and then volunteering program for teaching um, English to a bunch of kids there. And there I remember I met the most amazing people I've ever met in my life. I met 4 girls. One from Italy, one from Iran, one from Jordan, one from Ukraine. And they have changed my life completely. They've accepted me without me saying a word. They've loved me unconditionally. They've shown me how life can be just for the 21 days that I stayed in Tunisia for. I remember one of those nights, we were out in a club and the Italian girl, Cecilia, she got drunk and she came up to me and she started crying. I don't remember her exact words, but she was telling me how much I deserve a better life. She was telling me how much I'm missing out on, living in fear and hiding. She kept telling me that I need to get out of Egypt. That I don't know how beautiful the world and life can be. That what I'm living is nothing compared to how it could be. Her words are the reason why I got out of Egypt. After my 21 days in Tunisia, I went back to Egypt and told my mom that I am going to go abroad, to study abroad. Due to my family's financial status at the time, I had to study at a private university that was extremely cheap and hence not of very well quality. And yeah, I managed somehow to get accepted to study in Romania. So I got the little amount of money that my family was able to provide me with. And I got there. I remember how hopeful I was and how much I fought to get there, because I had a lot of problems with the paperwork and eventually got fixed. On my way there, the entire 2 months where I was dealing with the paperwork and the visa and everything, do you remember how much I kept thinking to myself, oh, when I get to Romania, I'm going to do this. Oh, when I get to Romania, I'm going to do that. Oh, when I get to Romania, I'm going to live like that. And crushed my soul when I got to Romania. I was so alone for a lot of the time there. First year, I basically spent it almost entirely alone, except for the last 3 months. I was extremely sad. So there was a train passing. I was extremely sad. And I didn't know what to do. What truly broke my heart was when a guy on a bus called me a terrorist just because I told him I'm from Egypt. That was the same day I was heading to receive my 3-year residency in Romania. I remember how I thought to myself, I'm gonna live here for 3 years. At that time, I was going to this LGBT support group every Friday. It was my only form of socializing at the time, since for reasons I still don't understand, I didn't have a lot of friends there. And since I didn't speak the language the first year, it made it harder to get to know people, locals. I remember that night it was a Friday, the day I got the residency. And I got to the group and I had like a minor breakdown, and I started saying and telling them what happened. And I remember how one girl said in Romanian that I should shut up because I probably do have bombs in my bags. I remember how there was this person that I thought we were starting to become friends. He just sat there, said nothing. Broke my heart, shattered me. When I was in Romania, I used to go to Egypt every single summer. And one of those summers, the summer after the musical concert thing, I was so afraid in Egypt. Never felt as afraid. The Human Rights Watch and the UNHCR and a lot of reports were talking about what's going on in Egypt, and I was just very scared. What made me extremely scared was when I got this voice note on WhatsApp that a lot of people got it in the small gay community that we have in Cairo. It was a guy who was saying that the police has started coming all the way until your doorstep, and that it's only because of his connections and his high position in the government they weren't able to take him with them. I remember how he said to delete all photos, stop hanging out with anybody, to lay extremely low, because they are coming for us. Kept thinking, why am I not accepted anywhere? Why do I run to Europe and feel that everybody hates me, and stay in Egypt and still everybody hates me? I wanted just to exist. I wanted to be safe. I wanted to go home, but I couldn't find where is home, and I couldn't understand what is home. And every single place I go, I am attacked. I remember on my way to the airport how scared I was. I felt like he was running. I had this transit in Athens on my way to Romania, and the moment I landed, it was like just a relief. And the moment I landed in Romania, I was afraid again. Very afraid again. A professor in Romania during a class about French history of France, she told me in front of the entire class to go back from where I came from because I'm not accepted or welcomed in Europe or in Romania. I told her I'm sorry after that course. Told her I'm sorry I made her feel like that. I know how wrong that was to apologize for, well, being me. I didn't know what to do. I felt that the entire world is just hates me for being whatever I am, and I just wanted to say sorry. Just wanted people to just, maybe that if I say sorry, maybe they would accept me, maybe they would not hate me as much. A couple of weeks later, on my way back from back home in the street at night, a group of men surrounded me, and they wanted to hit me, and managed to escape at the end, but it was kind of too much. Now I'm actually physically being beat up. A couple of months later, I got a scholarship to go on an exchange program to Madrid, Spain. When I got here, it was very different, I guess. People were very kind, very nice. To the point that literally the moment I got got to Madrid, I really wanted to just apply for the asylum. I wanted to stay. It was something. It was a place that seemed like it could be home, and I wanted to give it all the chances to become my home. 2 weeks later, after my arrival, I applied for the asylum. I am currently living in Barcelona. As the program sent me here. I am gonna finish my studies at the university here, and yeah, and I'm trying to write this book about my life as it's been already almost 30 minutes into the video, and have skipped so many important details and great portion of what's going on, and I don't know. I'm a refugee, or actually not a refugee, I'm an asylum seeker here in Spain at the moment. I'm not sure what is going to happen with my life. I'm not sure if I will see my family ever again. I'm not sure if Spain can be home. I'm not sure about a lot of things. But I'm sure about one thing. I need to speak about it. I need people to listen. I need people to help me help other people in Egypt. because the situation is extremely bad there for the LGBT community. So please, if you hear this and you are in a position where you can scream and shout and make some noise, please make a lot of noise. Thank you for listening to me. And I'm sorry the story was a little bit of a mess.